Good morning. I pray that you all had a good, restful night's sleep, but some of you all may have been like mine. While I slept good through the night, I woke up earlier than I normally do. It wasn't extremely early. I think it was maybe around 6:30, but nevertheless, I woke up. And I realized what had woken me up. It had to do with what I want to talk about today, which is feeling out of control, a control issue. Yesterday, I had been talking to my daughter, and she had been sharing with me that she was afraid, that she had been watching the news and looking at a lot of news feeds on her Twitter account, and all of the doomsday messages, all of the posts were really making her afraid. And even after I reassured her, or attempt to reassure her while we were on the phone, I realized when I woke up early that what had been bothering me and probably had waken me up early was I wanted to take her fear away. I wanted to be in control of her emotion. I did not want her to be afraid. I wanted to give her comfort. And what I had to recognize is that is not my job. I can comfort her. I can give her words of affirmation. I can share things with her, but I cannot take her feelings from her. That is beyond my control. And so I wanted to share with you all because I realize a lot of us are going through issues of control. Some of you may have grown up the way I did as a survivor of childhood abuse and really feeling for a large part of my childhood being out of control, never being able to always feeling on edge and not knowing when the person who was molesting me, never knowing when that time would come when I would find myself in that very uncomfortable situation. Well, when I became older, the next thing that I did is I began to become very controlling. Yes, I'm admitting it. I began to become very controlling. My reason for being controlling is I wanted to make sure that I was safe at all times. I really did not trust my environment. I did not necessarily trust people because what I had learned in my childhood was that my environment was not necessarily safe, and people who I thought would protect me, they also were not necessarily very safe. So as I became older, like I said, I became controlling. But what I learned as I began to do some work on myself, as I began to determine that I couldn't continue living like that, I began to understand that there are things that I can control and things that I cannot control. And guess what? Most of the things that I can control really only have to do with me. I cannot control other people. I cannot control other circumstances, but I can control my response to it. So what I want to share with you today as we go through this time of social isolation, social distancing, to begin to think about what are those things that you can control? What are those things that you have some control over? And what are some of the things that you may not have any control over? The serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And let's park right there. The wisdom to know the difference. What can I control and what's out of my control? I can control that. I can control my interactions with other people during this time of social distancing. I can control making sure I have hand sanitizer and that I have sprays and that I wash my hands on a continual basis, that I don't touch my face. I can control what I choose to eat. I can control, yes I can, even though the refrigerator may be calling to me at all times of day, simply because I'm bored, I can control that. What I can't control is that I cannot go to places I want to go, when I want to go, how I want to go, interact with the people I want to interact with. I cannot control the fact that I have 3 children and I cannot touch any of them at this time period. 2 live on the West Coast. 1 lives 25 minutes away, but during this time of social isolation, I cannot touch them. That makes me sad, but I have no control over it. And so I want to lead it, which leads me into the issue, the idea of acceptance. Once we recognize what we can control and separate it from the things that we can't control, we move into a space of acceptance. Accepting that There are forces and things that happen in this world that are bigger than you or I. That while we may really want to, while we really may want things to go the way we want them to go, we have to learn. I would invite you to consider accepting what your reality is right now. You may not like it. It may make you afraid. It may make you angry. But if you learn to accept it, then acceptance is the start of being able to make good choices for yourself. Non-acceptance says, I'm going to still go out, I'm going to still go to the club, I'm still going to congregate, I'm still going to have corporate worship in person, I'm still going to do those things we've been advised not to do. That's control. That's saying, I control my destiny. Acceptance says, no, I have to accept that if I want to have life, and that's it, if I want to have life and have it more abundantly, if I want to keep breathing, if I want not to end up in the hospital and possibly dead, I have to accept that there are some new guidelines I have to put in place. So my question for you today is, what do you need? What is the question? Let me slow down. My question for you today is, what are you accepting? Or what is something that you may need to accept? What is something that you may need to give up control over? I know it's difficult. I know that, we want to feel like we are the captain of our ship and we can do what we want to do. But unfortunately, there is something called COVID-19, or as we in the community call it, Miss Rona. Rona is in full effect, and Rona is in control right now. And the best we can do, unless you're a doctor, a nurse, or a researcher who is struggling to find a cure for this, we have to accept the things that we don't have control over. I love you all so much, and I want to make sure that all of us stay safe during this time. Take care of yourself on purpose. Bye-bye.